Hey Patreon, hot, hot, hot. Whew. Been trying to get some work done today, and I will admit, I'm older than I used to be. I need to lose some more weight, and man, it just makes it tough. I don't think I'm getting any softer in my old age. I think it's just the old age is what it is. Find myself in these hot, sultry days. Whew, bugs flying all around me. I'm sure I probably smell good. Difficult to just stay at it all day when you're out here in the hot sun, and I'm working out in the field. So, you're getting the full brunt of the heat, and find myself taking a few extra breaks than I normally would. Just to get out of it and get a glass of water and or stick my head in a creek or something just to cool off, because man, is it hot. It's kind of funny though, how many people out there, maybe not watching this channel, but how many people in the world out there pay money to go to places like a sauna to sit in the heat. I'll save you folks a lot of money. If you want to come out here and help me in this field, do some work, you can save the money of going to your little spa saunas, and you can get all the sweating you want out here in this Ozark sun. Start of the video, I put that little clip up there of a bumper sticker on the back of one of our vehicles, and that's kind of sort of where I'm taking the video. So it's just a bumper sticker that we have on the back of the vehicle, and no one has ever said anything about that bumper sticker until yesterday. We stopped in at a little gas station that's a few miles from us, and I pulled in, and this pickup truck pulls in behind me, and the guy jumps out and starts coming towards me. Now I know, with all the crazy stuff going on in the world and in a big city or something, that might be perceived as a threat, but the guy did not appear to be threatening. Had a big smile on his face and waved at me, and he came up to me and he said, "I want to shake your hand." I said, "Oh?" He said, "Yes." He says, "I like your bumper sticker, and it's nice to see that there's other people out here that's woke." He said, "And I want to shake your hand for it." And we ended up talking, and he's a like-minded brother that actually doesn't live but just a few miles from where I'm at. Man, I picked the worst spot, or maybe they're just following me all over the place. Getting extra protein today with all the bugs I've probably swallowed. Anyways, so we talked about the world and how things are absolutely crazy, and he's told me that him and his family had lived in a larger city and was, for years had wanted to move out, and he said 3 years ago they pulled the plug and made the decision and did what they had to do to get out here. He said that, in his opinion, and I don't disagree, that he felt that pretty much the east and west coasts are probably lost, and most of the big cities are lost. And he said if you want to, they believe that if you wanted to survive, if you wanted to have a chance of making it through what we're facing and what we're gonna face, living out here in the sticks in the Midwest and parts of the South and parts of the West are the only way to do it. Now I know that there's many people, I don't know how many on the Patreon here, but I know there's a lot of people out there that they homestead and they prep in more of the arid regions in the upper Northwest and places like that, or out east in the Appalachian Mountains, and I don't have any problem with that. If that's where you are and where the Lord's led you, that's fine. But I'm always going to stick to my guns on saying the Ozarks is the best place to do that, and I won't go into that today. Maybe I'll do another video on that, of why I think the Ozarks. One of my very first YouTube videos was on why I think the Ozarks is the best place to ride the storm out, but maybe I should make another update to that. It's gotten a lot of views over the last year or two, so maybe it's worthy of making an update. Anyways, so the point of the video, going off of the bumper sticker of 1984, and then what we've been talking about over on the YouTube channel of all this, the rioting, the looting, the insurgency, the Marxist communists, now these Marxist armed militias that are, pledging to kill anyone that they don't like, basically, and making all these demands. More now than ever, folks like us need to find other folks like us. And I'm going to try to walk a little bit because the bugs are starting to get to me, so you might get a little bright with the sun. Anyways, the reason why, and let me say this, I understand that a lot of us preppers out here, we don't like the idea of teaming up. Many of us are by nature kind of the lone wolf prepper kind of idea, and I'm not knocking that. We'll walk down here by the creek, see if it's any better. Probably not. Many of us by nature are kind of the lone wolf prepper. That's why a lot of us like to live out in the woods like this, because we don't have a lot of neighbors around and not a lot of people to bother us. And in a lot of, I'm going to cross the creek, and for a lot of situations, a lot of types of SHTFs, the lone prepper may not be too bad of an idea. It may not, it could be survivable. But I think what we're facing now, the type of everything happening at once SHTF, I think the lone wolf is probably not a good idea. And because we're not just facing, sorry, I'm not picking my nose, I'm trying to get the bugs out of it. We're not just facing a pandemic. We're not just facing the potential for, economic collapse or a grid down situation or anything like that. We're really facing about all of the above, but probably one of the biggest ones that it seems to be on the horizon is this civil war. We are in a civil war. We were in a cold civil war, and I think we are in the beginning stages of an active hot civil war, and we're seeing that in places across the nation. It may not have come to your area, you may not have been involved in it yet, but I think that it's happening. And because of that type of scenario, being a lone wolf may not be the thing that saves you, because you're not just dealing with crazy people that just want to cause destruction. We're dealing with communism. That's what it is. We're dealing with these anarchist communists that want to bring us down to our knees. They want to destroy every semblance of our society and our culture, because they feel that the only way to bring about this communist revolution is to destroy the entire structure, to destroy all of our infrastructure, to destroy the institution of America. So they're not just going to hit certain places and leave others. If this grows, if they continue to gain power, they will come everywhere. Everywhere will be affected. If you look at your history of Russia and China, both very good examples of this. When they went through their communist revolutions, there were no areas that were left untouched. Even down to the little villages and the local farmers were affected. So if you think that you're just going to bug out to your little farmhouse or your little cabin up in the woods and be okay, it doesn't work that way. Red Dawn may have been a good movie, but the reality is they're going to eventually come for you. And you may be highly trained. Some of you may be ex-special forces. You may be ex-military, ex-law enforcement. You may be heavily armed. You may train daily, and you may have equipment that would, cause a Navy SEAL to become envious. But if it's just one of you and dozens or even hundreds of them, you will die. You will lose that battle. You're not going to fight against them and win at those odds. So the only way for us to really survive this, and once they take power, it's kind of done at that point. The point is to prevent this from taking power, to prevent this from taking a foothold in our nation, to where there's enough people that get involved and enough people that want it, that they continue to perpetuate these Marxist evil ideas. So we have to stop it now. Now is the time to stop it. We should have stopped it before, and we didn't. There's still enough time to stop it, I believe. But we have to do this, together. You're not gonna, it's not gonna be just one person. So I'm saying all this. I feel like I'm rambling, but I am getting to a point. I am saying all this to say, lone wolves are, in this kind of scenario, I'm sorry, I think are just worthless. I know I have listeners that are lone wolves, and they really push the idea of the lone wolf. And like I said, that's fine on some things, but right now we don't have that luxury, because they're going to come for you eventually. So I've pushed it on my channel already, and I'm working on building coalitions here around me locally, reaching out to people, and that's why I mentioned the guy in the bumper sticker that I talked to, of trying to get people motivated and get them to stop being the silent majority and get them to be the active majority. It doesn't mean that you have to go out and actually, engage in combat with these people. And I'm not really even advocating a militia. If that's what you want, and there's one around you that is legitimate enough for you to feel you could be part of, that's fine. But it doesn't have to be a militia. A lot of the militias nowadays just aren't really, just a lot of talk and very little action, unfortunately. But I think what we need to do is band together as neighbors. Mutual assistance groups, I tend to believe, is where it's at. And then networks of those mutual assistance groups. Typically, you don't want to, in one group, I would think a 5-mile radius is going to be probably about maximum, because if something happens at your house and someone lives 10-20 miles away, well, it's, by the time they get there, whatever's happening at your place is probably over. So they need to be close enough for them to have a good response time. And then ideally, in a region, you may have 10, 15, 20, 30, however many of these little groups that all network with one another, and maybe they meet together every few months, have one big meeting or something like that 2 or 3, 4 times a year, so that they can keep in connections with each other and pass around ideas, but yet they're able to work autonomously also. I think something like this would be very good, would be very effective. Whew. Thought I had something in my hair, but I think it's just sweat. That way that they're able to help each other, not just in defense of their home, but, help out in other ways, which is something that is lacking in our society. Out here in the sticks, you see it more, where neighbors help each other, but it's still not like it should be. It's not like it once was. Back in the olden days, you knew your neighbors quite well. And you helped out. You knew, when it came time for them to repair a barn or to dig a well or to put up a fence, everyone kind of came together and helped out and did that. And nowadays, it's not happening. We need to bring that back again. We need to bring that back because, well, we're going to probably have a resurgence or a revival of the old days, and maybe not by choice for some of you. I think it's going to be thrust upon us because of just the state of everything, the nature of the world. So building these mutual assistance groups, or MAGs, I think are very essential, and it could even be essential to your survival just as much as your food stash and your ammunition supplies and your firearms and all the other things that you have. Having a network of neighbors that you work together and trust and even train together could be one of the things that saves you, because we're not just dealing with a natural disaster or a failure of the grid. We're dealing with insurgents that's hell-bent on not just taking over big cities and causing havoc, but taking over every corner of our United States. They want to destroy us, and they have already said, many of them, leaders, have said that they want to kill us. They want to force communism on us. If we don't like it, if we don't want it, then we're dead. This is a communist revolution that they are trying to push down our throats, and we have to stand up to it. Among other things, there are all kinds of things going on, and this is the time is ripe. These elitists, Illuminati, cabal, whatever you call them, they feel that the time is right to take over, and they're using race, and they're using this hatred and ignorance of the young to perpetuate it, and to bring about this new world order of Marxist ideas. So folks, start talking to your neighbors. Just, you can feel them out. You know how to kind of tell when someone is similar to you. Talk to them, start the conversation, set up meetings, invite people over for barbecues. Go down to the local park and invite everyone to come over and have a barbecue there, whatever it is, because it may be the one thing that keeps us all alive. All right, folks, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.